Happy Halloween, everybody. I'm Marc DiBenedetto alongside Casey Clark, Taylor Denson, and Stu Lovejoy. After a huge win last weekend against Middlebury College, the Bantams set their sights on the Amherst Lord Jeffs. Amherst is the biggest roadblock in between Trinity and the 2012 NESCAC championship. In addition, it's homecoming weekend, it's senior day, and the 46-game home winning streak is at stake. TSN football coming at you! My focus of the week is on avenging last year's only loss of the season. Last year when Trinity and Amherst met up, both teams were 6-0. Amherst won that matchup 35-28 and went on to win the 2011 NESCAC championship, so you better believe that the Bantams remember it. This year, Amherst is only 5-1, but a win for them this weekend creates a tie for first place in the NESCAC and would squander Trinity's hopes for an undefeated season. I expect the Bantams to be clicking on every face of the game as they look to avenge last year's only loss. With a strong homecoming crowd expected, I think Trinity will use that revenge mentality and pull out one of the closest games of the year.
My focus of the week is eliminating Amherst's dual run-pass threat. One of the driving forces coming into this week's homecoming game will be the chip on the Bantam's shoulder from last year's heartbreaking loss to the Jeffs. As much fuel as last year's loss will provide for this game, the Bantams cannot lose focus of taking care of both Amherst's pounding run game and pass proficiency. The Bantams' formula is simple. Stick to that dynamic run game on offense that has been dominating all season long, and have faith in the senior leading defense to stop both ground and aerial attacks. If the Bantams stick to these focuses throughout the whole game, it'll make for a very pleasant and cheerful homecoming for all the Trinity students and alumni in attendance.
My focus this week is simple, building on last week's success. There were just so many things the Bantams did so well last week against Middlebury that the only next logical step is continuing to do what they do best, win. Now let's start with the offense. The Trinity squad had 2 TDs through the air, 4 on the ground, and just generally looked like a well-oiled machine. Between Devaney's trick plays and just the general success the Bants had getting into the end zone, there was really nothing the Middlebury team could do. The defense, on the other hand, managed to pick off arguably the best QB in the NESCAC, not once, but twice. The coverage was there on every play, the D-line stuffed the run game at every turn, and with only 3 men on the rush, they still managed to register 3 sacks. Everything about the Bantams on both sides of the ball was the best we've seen this season, and if they can continue that level of play against Amherst, they're going to be in for the fight for their lives this weekend.
My focus of the week is stopping Amherst through the air. While many believe that the game will be won in the trenches, the passing game should be a crucial component in both offenses. Through 6 games in 2012, Amherst is averaging 167.3 passing yards per game. While that puts them towards the bottom of the NESCAC in that category, the Lord Jeffs are 3rd in the conference in pass efficiency, so when they go to the air, they don't make many mistakes. The Bantams will counter the Amherst passing attack with a defense that leads the NESCAC in pass defense and pass defense efficiency. Look for the Trinity defense to stuff Amherst through the air and force the Lord Jeffs to run the ball right through the teeth of the Trinity defensive front.
My player to watch for is 5th-year senior, number 3, the kicker, Tim Costello. Costello was the only member of this year's team that was also a member of the 2008 Trinity football team, the last team to go undefeated. After a season-ending injury in the first game of last season, Costello has come back strong and is now only 4 field goals shy of breaking the all-time Trinity College football record for field goals converted. With only 2 games remaining, it is difficult to say if Costello will capture the record. More importantly, it is comforting to know that a seasoned veteran will be on the field in clutch situations. With Amherst here this weekend, followed by a road game at Wesleyan to finish out the season, don't be surprised if one of these games comes down to a last-second field goal by Tim Costello.
The soup is hot. Back in week 1, I told you Nick Cam will be turning some heads this season, and how right was I? So far this season, Soup has racked up 21 total tackles, 5 pass breakups, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 interceptions in the last 2 games. Campbell cannot help but continually appear on the defensive stat sheet with the way he performs on the field. Like I said at the beginning, he brings his dynamism and dexterity to him on every game day. With the final 2 games coming up against 2 very formidable opponents in Amherst and then Wesleyan, number 24 is going to continue leaving everything he's got on the field and end his college football career as a Bantam great. As always, the soup is ready. and boy is it hot.
In what could be the biggest game of the year, my player to watch for this week is an obvious choice. Number 14 in your playbooks, number 1 in your hearts, senior quarterback Ryan Burgess. Completing 9 of 16 for almost 200 yards with 2 touchdowns, the battle last weekend against Middlebury's McCallum Foote left him looking like the much better QB, if not the best in the NESCAC. We also saw what looked like increased confidence in Burgess as Devaney was more willing to integrate more pass plays and was predominantly all running offense. With a 9.5 yards per play average and a completion percentage of almost 60%, Burgess is downright surgical in the pocket with the additional threat of being effective on the run. Amherst has only allowed 4 touchdowns the entire season, both rushing and passing, so this weekend will be a big test of Vance's QB and his receivers. This weekend Burgess wants the ball. Why? Because winners always do.
My player to watch is senior safety, number 21, Julian Brown. Brown has been one of the leaders of the Bantam defense all season. Through 6 games, he ranks 4th on the team with 29 tackles, including 1 sack. His 4 tackles for loss rank 2nd on the team, and he also has 2 pass breakups. As his stats show, Brown has made an impact all over the field this year, even lining up for a few plays at outside linebacker last week against Middlebury College. Expect Brown to have another huge day in his last game at the Coop, helping lead Trinity to a win over Amherst and a 7-0 record. Lock it up, because that's a TD guarantee.
Okay guys, a win this weekend ties Trinity for 5th all-time with the University of Nebraska with 47 straight home victories. With this in mind, there's no way that Trinity loses. They pull out one of the closest games of the year, 2017. Casey?
I agree. I think this is going to be Trinity's toughest opponent of the season. I say Trinity wins 17-14.
I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be a great homecoming, great matchup, 28-21 Bantams.
Well guys, after our close predictions fell flat last week, I'm going to go with the blowout, 28-7 Bantams.
Alright, well that does it for the preview. It's homecoming weekend. The game happens right here, 12:30 on Saturday on Trinity's field.